Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast
with your host, the 2023 IBWAA Podcast Host of the Year, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff.
It is time for Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. I am siblingless today. Jeff is feeling under the weather, so I stepped in and am going solo. So this might be a short and sweet episode, but it's about our favorite sport, baseball. Remember, you can check us out on Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A, and we are on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A. So this week, gonna go with the Angels first, and real quick, we'll just go through and see how they did. And they had a rough time in Arlington this week. The Rangers just rolled over them. That series loss was an 0-3 loss. They didn't win a game. And really, they came up against in the first game, Tyler Mahle, who has been great for the Rangers, a good pickup, and Kikuchi, who hasn't looked bad in his starts, but just isn't getting any kind of offensive help. Tyler Mahle had 9 strikeouts in this game, and the Rangers beat the Angels 4-0. The next game, Jose Soriano, who's been a bright spot for the Angels, goes 5 2/3 innings, but gives up 10 hits and the 3 runs. Luis Rengifo had the lone RBI with an infield single. Corey Seager was 3 for 4 in that game, and Jake Berger was also 3 for 4. So again, not a great game for the Angels, and another loss. And then in the third game, 5-3 loss, but it was Kumar Rocker who was on the mound for the Rangers, and he pitched 7 innings and had 8 strikeouts, which I think is probably a career high for him. And again, Corey Seager, who is injury prone at times, he is 2 for 3 in that game with a home run, so he looks like he might be maybe on the mend and having a healthy season. The Angels head home, and their first opponent is the Giants, who are up there second place at this point in the NL West. But it was a good matchup, and it was a good series for the Angels. They end up winning this series. First game, the Angels shut out the Giants 2-0. Tyler Anderson, who's been shaky on the mound, I don't think has quite lived up to how he pitched when he was with the Dodgers. But he pitched 6 innings and had 6 strikeouts in that game. Kenley Jansen got his 452nd save. And Zach Neto was back in the lineup, and he hit an RBI double. So that was nice to see, with him coming back from his rehab stint in Salt Lake City. Next night, 3-2, Giants beat the Angels, and really it was Landon Rope of the Giants. 7 innings pitched, gave up 5 hits, but had 9 strikeouts in that game. But Mike Trout had 2 home runs, and this was his 28th multi-homer game, which is a franchise record. The next game, this was a game that if you had a ticket to, you were excited, and especially if you were an Angels fan, because 5-4 win for the Angels, but it was a walk-off, and Joe Adell hit a base-clearing double to win the game. Zach Neto had a home run in this game, and Kikuchi, who hasn't pitched bad. He actually had 6 strikeouts in this game, 4 walks, but is looking better, and got some offensive help here. The interesting part, and I think the bigger part for the Angels, is Justin Verlander was on the mound for the Giants. That's right, Justin Verlander for the Giants. He pitched 6 innings, had 6 strikeouts, did give up a home run, but the bullpen couldn't hold it together for the Giants. And so kind of an odd, a complete series loss to a series win at home. Don't think there's anything better than that. The Angels are going to open a 3-game series at home versus Pittsburgh, and then they're going to head to Minnesota for 3 games. So I was debating whether to do Player of the Week with Jeff not being here, but I went ahead and already had somebody in mind, and so I went ahead and went with Zach Neto. He came back and looked good at the plate and helped the Angels in their wins in against the Giants. So I'm going to go with Zach Neto for Player of the Week. Let's just do some notes about the Angels. Mike Trout is hitting 181 at the moment, give or take here or there. And Ron Washington said he's not worried about Mike Trout. Mike Trout has said so many people are excited about his comeback. They want to see him because he's been injured the last few seasons. And Ron Washington said he feels that when Mike Trout gets 100 at-bats, he's going to figure it out. So we'll see. He still has an 802 OPS and 8 home runs, which is probably more than he's had at the beginning of a season in a while. He has never hit below 263 in a season in which he played more than 40 games. So the key to Mike Trout is obviously to stay healthy, and that's going to be a big key for the Angels as well. Zach Neto was activated, as I mentioned, and Nicky Lopez, who was in that spot for the Angels, was DFA'd, and he was quickly picked up by the Cubs. So a nice landing spot for him, especially with the Cubs and how they're playing right now. Zach Neto had a home run and 3 RBIs in his first 4 games. Batting average, not great at the moment, but he's getting back in there and is looking good. So I'm pretty sure that the Angels are happy to have him back. One of the things that's interesting about the Angels, and I noticed this in seasons past, is when they're in the dugout, you see the guys are talking or whatever, their camaraderie. But it's not as much as you see sometimes in other dugouts. And one thing that Kenley Jansen brought to the table when he became an Angel is dinners, team dinners when they're on the road, and group chats. And if you follow the Angels on social media, the team pretty much takes a photo before every game. And they've really said that this has helped their clubhouse culture. And Kenley has been the big proponent for this, that this is important, that they bond, that they get to know each other, because they spend a lot of time together. They spend more time with each other than they do their families during baseball season. So I think this would be a really good thing for the Angels. The Angels have a lot of younger players, and for a veteran to come in like Kenley Jansen, who's been on championship winning teams, to bring that clubhouse culture to the Angels could really be a good sign for them. I mean, they've been a surprise at the beginning of the season with, starting out the way they have. And we'll continue. We were early in the season, but we'll see where they end up. But I think this is really good. Ron Washington said he doesn't want his team to be a home run hitting team. Of course, everybody wants to hit a home run. What he wants is guys to pass the baton and start the rally, keep it going. And if somebody hits a home run in between, of course, he's not going to knock it. But he really wants that mentality of getting on base and this guy gets a hit or this guy gets a walk. How do I advance that runner? How do I get them to home? How do I get them to the plate? This is what we're doing. The Angels have averaged just 2.5 runs per game over their last 10 games, and they've gone 3-7. They started out like gangbusters. So this series that they had with the Giants obviously was a good series for them. And going into Pittsburgh coming into California to play them is, also be a good test for them. See how that camaraderie, how that team spirit's coming along, and how does Mike Trout do? All those questions. Because Mike Trout is one of those guys that he's an MVP, he's an all-star, but he's really kind of fallen off, and it surprises a lot of people. But he is right. A lot of people are rooting for his comeback. I would love to see him play in the playoffs, and I think the Angels have the right formula to get there this year. So we'll see. Well, and we'll see what Jeff says next week on that. And now, of course,
it's time for Dodger baseball.
We head to the Ravine and look at the Dodgers. The Dodgers are frustrating. And I know I said this last week. They're just frustrating. It's one of those things that I think it's because they won the World Series and everybody expects them to be fabulous every time they are out on the field. And that is not quite the case this season. And I think for fans, it's frustrating, especially after the World Series where they're like, we're going to run it back. But you get to start thinking, okay, well, they've got some new guys on their team that they're going to run it back with. How does that play? So the Dodgers they had just played the Cubs when last we spoke, and they were going to come in and needed a break, and they got that with the Colorado Rockies coming in, and the Rockies was exactly what the Dodgers needed. They sweep the Rockies as they should. First game 5-3. Dustin May gets his first win since May 6th of 2023. He had pitched 6 innings in that game, had 7 strikeouts. Mookie and Shohei had home runs. And in this game, and this is a guy that was on the team last year, doesn't look bad, but hasn't looked great this year. It was good last year. Hasn't looked great this year. Maybe sophomore jinx with the Dodgers, but Anthony Banda, he tried to give the game away by allowing 2 runs, but Kirby Yates and Tanner Scott, new additions obviously to the bullpen, held and saved the game. The Dodgers win 6-2 in the next game with Will Smith's 3-run home run on Jackie Robinson Day. And then this is the game, and this is the guy that we need to talk about. Where is he going to end up? What's going to happen with the Dodgers? Or where is he going to end up with the Dodgers? And that's Bobby Miller. He was called up, and he started the 3rd game against Colorado. And they win this game 8-7. But I don't even know how to describe it. It was just not a good game for Bobby Miller. He is just, I don't know what happened to him. He just has really just fallen off. I don't know if it's his mechanics. I don't know if he has forgotten how to pitch. I don't know. I don't know where he is. And the next day, he was optioned back to Oklahoma City. In Oklahoma City, he looked really good. And I think that's the issue. Like, is he just a AAA pitcher? Is that who he is? And, it was a fluke, maybe, with the Dodgers in those starts. Everybody thought, oh, he's going to be so great. And he really has just fallen off. In this game, he only pitches 3 innings. He gave up 8 hits, 6 runs, had 1 walk, did have 7 strikeouts, but he gave up 2 home runs in this game, which is really unacceptable when you're playing the Rockies. So it's almost kind of a give-me game, but the Rockies can be tough, and they almost came back to win. So Bobby Miller, the thing about him is, could we have traded him? Could we have kept Jack Flaherty? Could we have kept Walker Buehler? Why are we holding on to Bobby Miller? I think is a big question that I definitely would like answered. The Dodgers head to the Grill for the weekend for 3, and another series that I think was just frustrating when you watch the Dodgers. The first game, they win. It was a great game because you had Yoshinobu Yamamoto going up against Jacob deGrom. Dodgers win this game 3-0. Yamamoto, 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, no runs, no walks, 10 strikeouts in this game. So he was on fire. And then Kirby Yates came in, and Tanner Scott came in and to end the game, close out the game, and they both looked great. I mean, Kirby Yates had 2 strikeouts, didn't give up any hits, no runs, and Tanner Scott gave up 2 hits, but was able to keep the Rangers from crossing home plate. Jacob deGrom also pitched 7 innings, gave up 3 hits, gave up a run, had a walk, 7 strikeouts, and gave up a home run to Tommy Edman. Tommy Tanks, as they like to call him. He was 3 for 4 with an RBI. He had that home run, and he was at the top of the lineup, and he looked really good. He can go anywhere in the lineup and gets those timely hits that you need. And the reason he was at the top of the lineup is because Shohei Ohtani was on the paternity list. His wife gave birth to their daughter, and he was back by Sunday. I don't know that that was such a great idea. Shohei needed some dad power. Haven't seen it yet, but we'll go to the next game. This was a heartbreaker and almost just a dumb decision. 4-3 loss for the Dodgers. They were up 3-2 when Kirby Yates comes in to pitch, close out the game, save the game, and he just throws a big fat pitch to Adolis Garcia, who hit a 2-run walk-off home run to win the game. And it's almost as if when I was watching that game, I knew that Kirby Yates should not have been in that position because it never seems to go right. I know he pitched the night before, but here he was pitching again to end the game, to close out the game, and he just throws this huge pitch that Adolis Garcia just smacks. And Adolis Garcia says, I know Kirby Yates. He knows what I like, and I know what I was looking for. And he found it. And it never seems to go the right way when you put in the pitcher, who was a former Ranger last year, and against his former team, and then his former teammate hits this massive home run for a walk-off win. Now, Roki Sasaki started this game, has looked good, has continued to look like he's feeling more comfortable on the mound. That's a great sign. He pitched 6 innings, gave up 2 hits, 2 runs, had 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, did give up a home run. But I think the most important part is that he's looking more comfortable on the mound, knows where he needs to be, is making those adjustments. So that's important. Evan Phillips made his first appearance this season in Arlington, pitched 2/3 of an inning, gave up 1 hit, and had 2 strikeouts. So happy to have Evan back. Nathan Eovaldi pitched in this game. He pitched 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, 3 runs, and had 7 strikeouts. And the game also gave up a home run to Mr. Freddie Freeman, who always seems to be a bright spot in the Dodger lineup. But this was a heartbreaker of a game, and who throws that pitch? It was just right down the middle. Perfect for Adolis to hit it. Next game is a 1-0 win for the Dodgers. Happy. However, Tyler Glasnow is on the mound. He looks great. He's going up against Tyler Mahle. This is a pitcher's duel. In about the top of the fifth is when something happened, but it actually was before this. You could see Tyler Glasnow feeling uncomfortable on the mound, but he was throwing great. And weren't quite sure what was going on, and it was like, please don't let anything happen to Tyler Glasnow. We already have Blake Snell on the IL. We gotta keep Tyler. So what ended up happening is he had some leg cramps. They removed him from the game. He pitched 4 innings, gave up 3 hits, hadn't given up any runs at that point, and ended with 6 strikeouts. So he kept Texas scoreless. Freeman had a sac fly to keep the Dodgers, to put the Dodgers up 1-0. That's how it would end. Tyler Mahle, again, was on the mound. 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. But it was really scary to see Tyler Glasnow. Not quite sure what was going on with him. Leg cramps obviously are not fun. He's had this happen before, so I'm interested to find out, does he have some kind of imbalance? Does he need electrolytes? Does he need something before, an IV before he pitches? I'm not quite sure, but definitely a sigh of relief for Dodger fans. Dodgers are going to be in Chicago for 2. They're going to fly up to Chicago from the Grill, and that will be it. That's the end of their series with Chicago. They had them boom, boom, boom. They were in Japan. They met them in Japan. Then they were at Dodger Stadium, and then they're back in Chicago for the 2 games. This makes me nervous because the Cubs have been playing really good. Crazy, wild games for them. And the Dodgers just are lackluster. There's just something off about them, and that makes me a little bit nervous. After they play 2 in Chicago, they fly home, and they open up a weekend series against Pittsburgh for 3. So this week for the Dodgers is kind of hard for me to think about a player of the week. I mean, there's always several, but I went ahead and went with Evan Phillips. He is back in the bullpen, and in the starts that he's had, he's looked really good. The Dodgers have a 16-8 as of this recording record, second in the NL West. And when we look at this 16-8, you're like, that's pretty good. But Dodger fans are freaking out. And I went back and looked, and I was like, well, what was their record in April? Same time last year. They were 15-11 in April of 2024. So, what should we panic? Is the sky falling? No, the sky is not falling, but there needs to be some things worked out, especially with Max Muncy, who just does not look right at the plate. He has yet to get a home run, which is very odd. He's batting .181. He has 10 walks, but he has 30 strikeouts. And I almost feel like maybe he's trying too hard. He's trying to swing for the fences. Maybe he just needs to get a base hit. He just needs a single, a lousy single, and get on base. He's getting those walks, but he needs to do something. There needs to be an adjustment. And that's why I always wonder, what are these batting coaches doing? Are they saying, oh yeah, Max, you're doing great, when they're really not? I mean, he knows he's not. You can see the frustration on his face when he strikes out or flies out or has been close to a home run. And maybe he just needs to hit a home run to break out of this slump. But maybe he just needs to hit a single to get on base and get that feeling back on how to hit. Mookie Betts has 13 walks and 8 strikeouts. So has hit home runs, not always the power. And that's what I mean about some of these guys just being lackluster. They're getting on base, they're getting things done, but it just seems bleh with the Dodgers. And Jeff and I talked about this, that maybe they're just tired. They went to Korea last season. They did end up winning the World Series. It's a long season. Baseball is the longest season of any sport. And then this year, they went to Japan. You have to start the spring training earlier because they fly to Japan and do that and all of the press that goes along with that. Then they come home and they're just boom, 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 boom. And they were undefeated. And now things are coming back to earth. They're coming back to earth. But again, there's something off with the Dodgers. And I'm not quite sure what it is. But we need to look for some silver linings, which we have done in the past with the Angels. Clayton Kershaw had his second rehab start in Arkansas. He was with the Tulsa Drillers. He gave up 1 run, had and 4 hits, and had 4 strikeouts. So it looks like he's eligible to come back off of the 60-day, I think, here sometime in May. Don't know that will happen, but we'll see. Blake Snell, who was put on the IL on April 7th, retroactive to the 3rd. He had 1 bullpen session that he's completed. He said his shoulder felt okay, but there was still some pain. He threw again this week, and they have shut him down from throwing. Not great news for the Dodgers. And I'm not a huge Blake Snell fan, and have never really been, but he is a Dodger, so of course I'm going to root for him. But it makes me wonder, hoping that whatever this is with his shoulder is nothing serious and that it's a season-ending injury. We definitely do not want that. But it makes me wonder, should we have not signed him and kept Jack Flaherty, been able to keep Walker Buehler? It's hard to see Walker Buehler in a Red Sox uniform. It doesn't look right. I don't think he looks great in red. So could we have kept him? Did we really need Blake Snell? So far, I say no. But time will tell. As you know, the Dodgers always like to kind of keep everybody in the dark about their guys that are on the IL. And I think they try to put on a good face. I hope this is good information. I hope that this really is just a low-grade sprain, as they said. But Blake Trinan, who is on the 15-day IL with lower forearm tightness, nothing that any fan wants to hear of one of their pitchers, one of their best bullpen pitchers. The MRI that he had revealed that there was no structural damage. That's always good news. So they diagnosed it of a low-grade sprain. The thing is that with this type of thing, they take it very slow. Estimated time, 6 weeks, but I'm going to think that we won't see him for a while. So it could be even, maybe middle of June. If it's fine, July, it's going to be a while. Which leads me to, why don't we go get Joe Kelly? Joe Kelly's in town. He lives there. Hometown guy from Corona, California. And he's there. And I bet he could get ramped up. Fans love him. And when he's on. And he's a good innings eater. So hey, Joe Kelly, if you're listening, if you're out there, Andrew Friedman, we need you. Shohei Ohtani is still a couple of months away from the mound. So again, if he pitches this year, it's definitely going to be sometime after the All-Star break. Don't see that happening. If he pitches at all, I don't know. Will he pitch at all this year? I know he definitely wants to, because that's what he does, but it's going to be a while. The highlight of the Dodger bullpen, I think this was Jeff's player of the week, maybe last week, the week before, is Jack Dreyer. He has a .66 ERA and over 10 games, has 1 earned run. So that's a bright spot. Of course, Alex Vesia has looked good, but he's also, it seems like at Tanner Scott, like, why are you throwing these big middle pitches in situations that should never have a middle pitch thrown? We'll talk more about that next week. So yeah, the Dodgers, they're just out of sorts. The Dodgers are out of sorts right now. I don't know if you agree, disagree. Let us know. Tweet at us. Send us a message. What do you think? What's up with the Dodgers? Do you think they're out of sorts? I think they're out of sorts. Still love them, always will, but I think they are out of sorts. All right, so players of the week for the Angels and the Dodgers. You got my players of the week. But let's head to around baseball. I'm not going to take the bullpen card out because Jeff has the keys. Obviously, I can't start it, and I don't know how to hot wire a bullpen cart. So I'll just take a stroll around baseball. The MLB Players of the Week, as always, we start with the American League, and Dylan Moore of the Seattle Mariners hit .385. He was 10 for 26 over the week with 6 runs, 3 home runs, and 5 RBIs. And in the National League, Fernando Tatis Jr. of the San Diego Padres is the National League Player of the Week. He hit .375, had 4 home runs, 7 RBIs, and a 1.441 OPS. We'll see if he can keep it up. But right now, San Diego, they seem to be, they have a goal, and we'll see if they reach it. I'm hoping not, but we'll see. There was something that happened in the Blue Jays Seattle game, and this game actually goes into extra innings, or Zinnings, as we like to call it here on SRBB. And it's Blue Jays and Mariners. Jose Barrios is on the mound, and he accuses Seattle's catcher Cal Riley of relaying pitches from second base. Barrios cornered Riley and confronted him in the 4th inning. Bench is clear. Nothing happens. No punches were thrown or anything like that. But Cal Raleigh, he says, I wasn't relaying pitches. But I wonder, if you're on second base, they've got pitch comm, so there's no signs. If he is relaying pitches, he's on second base. Isn't that fair game? That he could figure it out? Is there something that Barrios is doing? Is there a certain tick in the way he pitches that was like, oh, this is going to be a fastball, or this is going to be up and in, whatever it may be, a splitter, whatever he throws. And Raleigh was able to pick up on that. And I think if he was, that's just smart baseball. And a smart baseball player. Like I said, the Seattle goes on to win this game 8-4 in Zinnings, 12 to be exact. But I just wonder, sign stealing in the age of pitch comm, really? And was Barrios just being out of sorts that day? Maybe he knew he wasn't pitching well and wanted to blame it on somebody. I don't know. I mean, we don't know. Was Raleigh doing it? He said he wasn't, but maybe he was. We don't know until he tells the truth. Did he tell the truth? I don't know. But I just thought it was interesting that in the age of pitch comm, this would come up. I mentioned last week about the college baseball standings, so I thought I would update you on that. And it really hasn't changed much. There has been a little bit of movement, but Texas, the Longhorns are still number 1 at the top. Clemson is number 2. I think they were 3rd. They were number 3 last week. Oregon State moved up to 3. Florida State, Arkansas at 5. Tennessee, the Volunteers, is 6. LSU at 7. North Carolina, number 8. Vanderbilt is in the top 10. Another great baseball school. Lots of guys played at Vandy, including Walker Buehler right off the top of my head. And number 10 is Georgia. Again, what do these teams have in common? The majority of them, all SEC teams. And that's the one thing we're seeing in college baseball lately is SEC teams taking over Omaha. Omaha, if you can go. It's on my bucket list. I would love to go to Omaha and hang out for several days and just watch all of the college baseball I can. It's exciting. If you can't get to Omaha, watch it. Usually ESPN carries it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do this year since I have an issue with ESPN, but we will keep updating you. And as we get closer to the regionals, the super regionals, and as they get to Omaha, we'll be talking more college baseball. College World Series, if you want to think about a trip to Omaha, June 13th to the 23rd. So we will see who ends up in Omaha. And I can guarantee it's going to be a lot of SEC teams. Really short. Will of IL. No song for me. I can't do that. Not with Jeff being gone. And he is working on his greatest hits of the Will of IL hits. Not quite sure if he has a title for that album, but lots of great songs. The Oblique song, and he has several of those, different versions of that, and just great songs about injuries, intercoastal injuries. I think he's got a hamstring song in there. You got to check it out when it's released. But short IL, Spencer Strider. And this one's interesting because when he came back, had his first game, there was a picture of him. And it was like Spencer Strider never forgot leg day when he was on the IL. Well, he has a grade 1 strain of his right hamstring. So he is back on the IL, this time 15 days, and hamstrings are tricky, so we'll see. And this is not good news for the Braves. Manuel Clase is listed as day-to-day. He experienced some shoulder discomfort in his last outing, so they're going to watch him and see how it goes, and maybe it was just a twinge, a tweak. Hopefully it's nothing more than that. Clase is one of the best relievers in baseball. Edwin Diaz, another reliever, listed as day-to-day. Also during, I think it was just throwing, but had a hip cramp. And they're going to check it out, see, is it just a hip cramp? Is it something more? So we'll watch that. And then there was a collision with Luis O'Rise. And it was not pretty. He was hit head first when he was running to first base when they were playing the Astros. And Mauricio Dubon was got the ball. He had a sacrifice bunt is what happened. And he was trying to reach first. And Arise and Dubon collided really hard. They both fell to the ground, but Dubon, he jumped up. He was good. Arise did not. He rolled over to his left shoulder. He remained down. He was completely motionless for quite some time. It's very scary. And they placed him on a stretcher, and they carted him off the field. He did give a thumbs up as they were carting him off the field. He was taken to a local hospital for further testing. The team said that he was stable, he was conscious, he was responsive, and he was able to move his extremities. All good news for the Padres and obviously for Luis Ariz, but he is on the 7-day concussion protocol after this collision. Totally makes sense, but was very scary. And Mike Schilt, the manager of the Padres, said, maybe we need to do something about first base. There needs to be some safety protocol. And I didn't realize this, but in the SEC championship last year, baseball championship last year, they used double first base. And I don't know if you'd heard about a double first base. I hadn't till I was listening to or reading about what Mike Schilt had said. And it's used in college baseball to reduce collisions. And there are 2 bases at first. So the first baseman uses the white base, the white bag, and then the runner is on the green bag. Sometimes it is orange. So, but it's a colored bag, usually green or orange. So the NCAA tested it, and is it something that could come to the MLB? We'll see. I mean, how many collisions do you have at first base? There's quite a few, not as many like something like this. Now, way back, I'm trying to even think what year it was, but Max Muncy was playing first base last game of the season, and a runner ran into him, into his arm, and that just totally messed him up. He wasn't able to play in the playoffs. Dodgers didn't go anywhere, and he tore tendons. I mean, it was really bad. So maybe this is something that MLB could look at. I think that they would probably wait and see a full season of Division I baseball and see how it works. But, it's something to think about with this double first base. Now, it would get some getting used to seeing 2 bases at first base, but is it worth it? Do we need it? So basically, what would happen is on a play at first, the defender has to be in contact with the white bag, the white base, while the other runner takes ownership of the outside bag, the green or orange base. The runner's bag provides a measure of assistance to officiating the crew, and that's why they have it a different color. Now, having bags of 2 different color gives the umpire making the call a better chance of identifying which bag is touched by the runner attempting to reach first base safely. There are a couple of exceptions, and they are pretty straightforward. There's on a dropped third strike, the first baseman can use either bag to record the out once he's taken possession of the ball after the throw down from the catcher. The second is a little more involved. If a batted ball is ruled fair and then takes the defender into foul territory, the runner can use either bag in an effort to avoid a potential collision. The same steps can be taken when the ball is overthrown and pulls the defender off the bag. So there was a game, this is earlier in the season, but there was a game, Mississippi State and Missouri State, and the double base rule came into play. Missouri State left fielder Jake McCutcheon sent a grounder out to Mississippi State second baseman Lucas Buckner. Buckner bobbled the ball. Oh, that's interesting, Buckner. Anyway, and it appeared that he would have an error. And however, McCutcheon did not touch the runner's base. He didn't touch the green or orange bag. Instead, he stepped on the white bag that's reserved for the defender in that situation. So by not touching the green bag, McCutcheon was still considered a live runner in play. The principal applied mirrors that of a runner not touching the bag at all. Mississippi State dugout recognized the situation. They made the appeal, and the out was recorded and the side was retired. Buckner wasn't charged with the error in this game, but I just wonder, that'd be confusing and to me, and would really get how to learn, to remember what base to touch. I guess, obviously that's why it's colored. It's orange or green. That's my bag. I touch that bag. But in these cases, if you see a bag and you just get to the closest one and it happens to be white, but then you're still not, that's not the right bag. You were supposed to touch the green bag. I don't know. It seems very confusing. Since they're using it in the Division I, we'll be able to see it as they, I'll have to catch some college baseball. Maybe I'll be able to see it. Maybe it's not that big of a deal. I would like to know, though, at the end of this season for Division I or for college baseball in general, has it reduced collisions? What is the percentage? Obviously, I think for Major League Baseball, that's the kind of studies that they're going to have to do. Research says that having two bags leads to less collisions. I don't know that we've seen a whole lot of collisions at first base. They don't happen every game. They don't happen every 2 games. They may not even happen in a series. Every 2 series, every 3 series, I don't know. But it's interesting to think about. Just really quickly, I wanted to go through and look at the standings. Right now, the Mets, holy cow, they are just on fire. And they have the best record in Major League Baseball. And they just got it going. They got it going on. And right now, they are at the top with the best record, 18-7. And then after that, you have the Padres at 17-8. The Dodgers as of recording, we'll talk about these games, but they're 16-9. But still, they have the second best record in baseball. But let's look at these guys at the bottom. You've got Colorado. Poor Colorado, those Rockies. They're 4-18. This time last year, they were 6-19. And I gotta say, Ken Rosenthal wrote an article about managers that are probably on the hot seat, on the bubble. Are they still going to be managers? Are they going to make it through the season? And I gotta say, Bud Black has got to be on the chopping block. But I don't know that the Rangers front office will really do anything. They did fire their hitting coach. Has that helped? I don't know. Have to go and look. But the Rockies have some good arms, and I think I have a little bit of an affinity. I know as a Dodger fan, I shouldn't say this, but mainly it's because the minor league team in Albuquerque is the AAA team for the Rockies, and it's the Isotopes. And obviously, I loved it when they were the AAA team for the Dodgers, but they're for the Rockies. And so you get to see these guys play, and they've got some good young players, but almost seems like a waste when they get called up and they get called up to Denver. It's like, sorry, I wish you could have just stayed in Albuquerque. So what's going to happen with the Rockies? I don't know. And then you got the Chris Bryant situation. He has that lumbar degenerative spine disease, which sounds horrible, but he wants to play. He wants to figure it out, so we'll see. Atlanta was 17-8 this time last year in April. That was their April record. They're at 10-14, and like I said, Spencer Strider is on the 15-day IL. Ronald Acuna Jr. is not back yet, so we'll see when he makes his appearance. Is it going to make a difference? Pittsburgh, 9-15. They were 10-17 at this point last year. And again, what is Pittsburgh doing? I think we've talked about this probably ad nauseum, but they have Paul Skeens. Why aren't they building a winning club around him? I don't know. Tampa Bay, I don't know if it's because of where they're playing. They're playing at Steinbrenner Park, playing in a spring training facility. They were 12-15 at this time last year. They are 9-14. The White Sox are 5-18. At this point last year, at the end of April, they were 6-24. So they're still going towards that record, I guess. And then the A's, they are 10-13, bottom of the AL West. They were 13-14 at this time last year. Is it something about their playing situation? Where, because they're playing in these minor league parks, their schedules are different. The AAA teams, well, I think all of the minor leagues, but the AAA teams, you play 6 at home, 6 on the road, and you're back and forth. So they have to figure that out with their schedules. The same thing with Tampa Bay. Well, I guess Tampa Bay really doesn't have anybody that they're contending with for field time, but the A's do. And so they really are in limbo. They're just the Athletics. They have no... It's like The Man Without a Country. A Man with No Country, that book. Where are the A's? The stadium in Las Vegas, or have they even started building it? What's going to happen, and how long is that going to take? So this could be a long haul for the A's. Well, that does it. I have taken my stroll along the field, and I am ready to hang it up on this episode of Sibling Rivalry Baseball podcast. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for sticking with me. Just me, but next week, Jeff will be back and hilarity will ensue. Always good to have Jeff back and be with Jeff as we talk about baseball. We can't emphasize it enough. We love baseball. It is in our DNA. We have grown up with it, and it's just something that makes us happy, and we hope that baseball makes you happy too. Thanks for listening. Again, check us out. Send us a message. Send us a tweet, whatever it may be. Find us on Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A, and we are on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A. Have a great week, and don't forget to swing away.
You're